What's up, guys? I'm back from the appointment with the surgeon. My follow up, because as some of you saw my last rant, I had too many notes, so he had to have time to read all of them. And I could tell he didn't read some of them when I got into him, see him, but that's beside the point. But anyway, I got there in the morning thinking that I wouldn't have to wait a long time because that place always has like 15 people there. And they opened at 8. I was there at 9 and still had to wait an hour and a half. So I don't know. But anyway, I spoke to the surgeon, and just one more backstory. I wanted to see the other surgeon because it seemed like he did more of the ulnar nerve stuff and cubital tunnel stuff. But the lady had me see this other guy. And as it turns out, after talking to him, I have to go see the other guy. And I could have originally made an appointment to see the other surgeon on November 25th. But because she had me see this guy, now it's December 8th. So I understand for all of you that have these issues and are trying to do something about it, but this stuff happens. It's like you make an appointment. Oh, you got to come back and see this guy, or you got to go see another guy because that guy doesn't know what's going on. And it's like another month. So that part is really frustrating. I'm trying to get this done. I'm not working right now because of these issues. It's like I can't type, I can't mouse without getting pain. Um, so, I mean, it'd really be really stupid of me to go get a job, even if I use Dragon, and say, hey, guess what? Sorry, in 3 weeks I'm going to be out for like 2 months. So, anyway, but this guy, we went over it. You know, I asked him about the subluxation and whatnot, and he did look at my MRI at least. He didn't go through my notes, but he did at least look at my MRI because he told me that my nerve kind of sits. Well, you can't see I have a sweater on, but it kind of sits at the edge of the medial epicondyle instead of like directly behind it. And when he had me bend my arms, it's the same thing as I feel when I do it. It doesn't really come all the way over. It pops a little out of the groove, but not all the way. So it's still, like I said, it's in that gray zone. And at this point, I don't even know if I'll get another MRI with it flexed or ultrasound because I know what's going on in it. I mean, I can feel it. I did the stretch that I showed you guys for him. I can't believe they don't know this stuff. Like it was like eye opening for him for me to show him this. It was like, oh, you know, and I show him the stretch and I did this and it popped over the bone on my left. It didn't really do it on my right. And he said, well, there, you know, I saw it. I said, yeah, I know. I'm telling you to look for it. There it is. And he confirmed that that was my nerve. And he says, well, there you go. You know, it subluxates. I said, yeah, well, also does that in my wife. And I did have my mom do that stretch, and it does that to her too. So you can always have these things and it not be causing the problem. But if you're like me and you have the issues, it's probably most likely contributing to it. So I know I was holding out hope that the endoscopic decompression would be an easy choice. And there's still a small part of me that thinks maybe, or what if, but it's more than likely going to be a transposition. And this guy, who I saw, does a few subcutaneous transpositions, but I have to go back to see the other surgeon because he doesn't do them as frequently, and he recommended for me to do a submuscular transposition because he said I was too lean and I wouldn't be happy with it because they just move it on the other side of that bone. And then we talked a little bit about when he does the fascial flap or not, and got into a little bit of that and talked about the endoscopic procedure and so on. And he knew the doctor that was recommended the endoscopic procedure, and he didn't really speak badly of him. He says he does a lot of those, but he wasn't a fan of it because of whatever his reasons. Um, so still, for you guys that don't have subluxation, I think endoscopic decompression can be a really easy solution without having the long rehab time, because the submuscular transposition is going to require even more rehab than the subcutaneous. So I got that to look forward to. And I wanted to ask, you know, Kodiak, I know you had the subcutaneous transposition, and any other guys that had the subcutaneous. I know Kodiak, you're pretty lean like me. So for anyone that's, you know, a lean person, doesn't have a lot of fat on them, I'm kind of interested to know whether you had a fascial flap to hold your ulnar nerve when you did the subcutaneous. And as this doctor was telling me, they can do that from your fascia to your fat, or they could actually take your fat and fasten it to the fascia, or just use your fascia. So there's a couple different things they could do when they do the subcutaneous transposition that can hold your nerve in the new place. And then some doctors, like the first one I saw out here who wanted to do that, didn't do anything to hold it in place. And I voiced my concern to this doctor about that too. And he said, well, I said, well, what if I were hyperextend my arm or something and that popped back over into the old place? He said, well, it can't happen. So I also asked him about, sometimes when they do the transposition, they also do a medial epicondylectomy, whereas they shave off a little of that medial epicondyle bone when they transpose it. I never understood why they do that, and I asked him about it. He said he never does it, and the other guy doesn't do it, and he doesn't quite know why, because really once you move it out of that location, it's not really, there's no point. It's not rubbing on that anymore anyway. So, and I get that. That was kind of my question about it, but whatever. So December 8th, I'll meet with this guy who's obviously going to recommend a subcutaneous or submuscular transposition. But I really want to hear from you guys, whether it's in the comments or you make a quick video and shoot me the link. Let me know how your subcutaneous transposition worked for you, especially if you're lean. I mean, I see a lot of people, like I know the Wyatt Cup guy who's like was a bodybuilder and has a channel where he talks about ulnar nerve transposition, and he had the subcutaneous done. So obviously he's a lean guy, and if it worked out well for him, I don't know why it wouldn't work out for me too. I mean, he just said, he's like, oh, it's just going to be sitting right, here's the medial epicondyle, they just move it right here on the other side. So he's like, it's just going to be sitting here, you'd feel it, if you tapped it, you'd feel it. But I don't know that, because when I do that stretch that makes my nerves pop over, like I showed you guys, that doesn't give me immediate pain, And actually, I was talking to one of you guys on there talking about the shooting pain down the arm. I never get that, I never get the shooting numbness. I get numbness here and dull pain here, and sometimes numbness here. But it's usually after I do something, and not even immediately after I do it. It's kind of like, I did arms at the gym yesterday. I always try to irritate them before I come in to the doctor. And only what thing that was going on is my fingers got a little numb after my workout. And not even right after, just a couple hours after. And who knows, man, I had a really good pump going yesterday. So maybe it was like compression, because my arms were all pumped up and it was adding to the compression. Who knows? It's so hard, to tell what's going on unless, if you're one of those guys where you bend your arm and it's like bing down your arm, that's subluxation. That's what's causing your problems. That is easy as crap to figure out. But, for somebody like me where typing does it, where playing guitar does it, is like, my arms can be straight doing both those things and I can still get issues. So it still makes me think that compression might be the primary cause of my problems. And it makes that decompression awfully tempting. But I don't know, man. I don't know if I want to have to go through it twice, And submuscular sounds hardcore, because they, for those of you who don't know, they make a Z cut in your forearm muscles and essentially lengthen your forearm muscles. And that's what takes a lot of time to recover when you have the submuscular, because you're usually immobilized in a hard cast or maybe a soft dressing arm wrap that essentially becomes hard cast because you can't move your arm for like 3 or 4 weeks. So I don't know. But the good thing about this place is I know they have their own therapy thing, which is that's cool. I think I don't. Sometimes where you go to these guys and they talk to you about surgery and they're like, oh, you don't need therapy. It's like, I just feel like they say that because they want to just do your surgery and get you the hell on out of there and move on to the next paycheck. So I don't know. I don't really have any additional answers other than that my nerve in this arm, I don't think completely pops over the bone, hardly ever. I know it does in my left arm somewhat, which the strangest thing is, like, I've had the problems in my right arm for like 5 years. It just started bothering me in my left about a year ago. And you'd think, like, if your nerves tend to subluxate or they're unstable, as they call them, why wouldn't you have problems sooner? Like, why all of a sudden? I've been working out with weights since, for those, I am 37. I've been working out with weights since I was probably, I don't know, let's just say 20 or 19. So it's been, gosh, man, I'm freaking old. Oh, geez, man, it's like 17 years, 18 years. But why can I, work out for that long and not have problems in that whole time? And all of a sudden I have issues, and the left only started bothering me after I cut my workouts back and I lost a lot of weight. I'm probably 15 pounds heavier than I was at my biggest. And I'm never a big guy. I'm just naturally lean. So it's not like I was huge or anything, but I was bigger. And weird that my left would start bothering me after I lost weight, um, and not, when I was big and maybe things were causing stuff to pop out or whatever. So I don't know. I mean, I'm pretty sure at this point I'm just gonna have to make a decision. I don't think I'm ever gonna get a consensus. There's always gonna be something unique or weird that the different one doctor tells me versus the other, and I'm just gonna have to trust my gut and make a call. Um, so I don't know, guys. I'll keep this one short. That's it. But for those of you that have the subcutaneous transposition, let me know how it's working for you. Let me know, especially if you're lean, if it bothers you, if you feel it, if you still, like if you set your arm down on the table, if you get numbness or whatever. And as always, for those of you that are finding these, that haven't watched any others, and you want to ask me questions about cubital tunnel, compression, ulnar nerve, subluxation, surgery, conservative treatments, any and all that stuff, I'm more than happy to help because I know how difficult it can be finding that stuff online. And I know the doctors don't like to listen that much anyway. This guy kind of seemed irritated when I kept asking questions, and it's just like, what the hell, man? I just waited an hour and a half. I'm the one that should be pissed off. But oh yeah, just the last thing that I thought was funny. So the mega bitch, as I call her, receptionist. She wasn't there welcoming people. She was on like the backside. So like when you check out of the doctor's office, she was there. And I thought it was probably because she's not the cheeriest person. They probably figured, well, she's probably not the best person to greet people as they come in. So anyway, I saw her on my way out, and it took every fiber of my being not to like freak out on her because I could have made an appointment to see the doctor who I now have to wait till December 8th. I could have just originally made the appointment and trusted my gut that told me that I would have to see that guy, even if I saw the other guy, which happened, on November 25th. And when I walked up there, when I asked her about that originally, as you guys might recall my story, she said, no, you're seeing that guy. If you need an appointment, there's another system. We'll get it to you quicker, blah, blah, blah. And that was, supposed to be on the 25th. So what happens? I walk up to her, and just as I told her, I said, hey, guess what? I have to see Dr. Bronstein. Now, I kind of threw a jab in there, and she goes, oh, okay, let me check. Well, we have an appointment. We have an availability on December 8th at 3 o'clock. It's like, I didn't even go there, I'm like, don't you have anything sooner? Oh, no, da, da, da. It's just like, what the fuck, man? Like, I could have seen this guy far sooner if I just would have made the appointment with him and not, now they get another, copay from me, and it's just ridiculous, man. And she's just so bitchy. And that guy, he didn't read my notes because when I referenced the nerve conduction study, he went flipping through like that. So the whole thing of, me going in there the first time and I had too many notes and I had to come back so he had a chance to look at them. He looked at my MRI, but I saw him go looking at it right before I met him. So, 2 weeks went by. He didn't do a damn thing in that time. And that's the way it is. It was just an excuse to, because they were too busy at the time. So, and he actually told me in the thing, oh, talking with you is much more helpful than, looking at these or your MRIs, physically seeing your arms and what's going on is a lot more helpful. And I said, well, I told the lady that. And I said, I don't need to come back. I can communicate what's wrong, to the doctor. And he goes, oh, maybe it's because you said you had seen a couple other surgeons, which I never told her that. But, again, it's just bull crap because they were busy at the time. They just wanted to send me away so they could make themselves, make the queue less long. So anyway, I hope you guys do not have to deal with that. I mean, my average wait out here for a freaking doctor is at least an hour. It's so freaking stupid. It's just insane. I don't know why they do it. Make an appointment and then allow enough time between them and the next, it just doesn't make sense. They don't care. But anyway, I'll stop rambling. I wish I had more updates or more helpful information, but I don't. But I would really appreciate it if you guys that have had subcutaneous to share with me. So Until December 8th. Later.